Hey y'all, we come to you today with a bit of a special message. I know the energy is thick out there with the times that we're in. We're all being forced out of our comfort zones to really pick up some slack. We're being called and drawn out of our comfortably numb states because of the things that are happening in this world right now. Uh, Things are being pushed onto us, whether we are or whether we're not under certain criteria. And it's really, really heavy. And when things get heavy in our relationship, we speak about them. So that's what we're here to do today.
So, welcome everybody. We are Twin Flames in Union. My name is Brooke.
My name is Danny, and we'd like to welcome you to
The Empire of Neutrality.
Hey y'all! I just got the sound of Pink Floyd's "We Are Comfortably Numb." Da-na-na. It's a beautiful song. It's really old now, anyways. I don't know, but it's true. Right now we cannot be comfortably numb any longer. When everything started happening in 2020.
When I first came to Canada.
Yeah, we were like, what? We booked a flight to go to Rambling Mike's meet and greet in California, Burbank, California.
Pay for the tickets and everything.
And we were a week out, and things were shut down.
But we've done a pretty good job. When all that stuff was happening, and I feel like that's when a lot of the panic kind of really initiated.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hot all of a sudden. And, our job from Spirit was to just remain neutral, to not get involved, to not amp things up, and to kind of be the peaceful warriors. And that's what we've done.
It was in a time as well where we were going through our practice of neutrality and being in neutrality within our relationship, within our mentorship, and within like our lives, our community, the whole aspect of everything. It wasn't like we could take anything else on. And even as more and more things came up in the media and in life, and everything hit Facebook and blew up, we kind of stayed neutral and pulled back a bit to really grab a sense of what was happening. And I mean,
yeah, in the beginning, I remember when this all first started, we weren't even sure how to have the conversations neutrally. And that was important to us, to be able to hear out other people and their side, to be able to speak our own truth without shaming or attacking anyone. What was challenging in the beginning was having those intimate and conscious conversations neutrally. And in the beginning, you would get triggered, when you'd start these conversations with other people. There was just a lot of emotion. It was really emotionally charged. So we had to learn how to kind of see that trigger in the middle of a conversation that we've never had, uncharted territory, right? Danny's talking about, there's no choice of being numb and comfortable anymore. You know, we found ourselves in these situations, in these conversations, and for a while we kind of just had to bite our tongue and observe, aka the divine feminine, right? And as we did that, that allowed us to develop communication skills. It allowed us to really ground into our own personal truth and to be able to have those conversations with other people.
We might be all over the map today, and that's fine. We're going totally unscripted, and we're just laying out kind of tidbits of information that I've come across or that I've stayed, attuned to, I've paid attention to over the past decade or more, and then, trying to tie things together. We ask that you guys try and stay neutral. I know this might trigger quite a bit of you, even the closest family, relatives, and stuff like that get triggered on these topics. And it's, stay neutral, be gentle in your views. And then if you have to come back and watch things again and then kind of look into things for yourself, that is what we're asking of you. Okay.
I knew you were about to do that.
I seen this sitting.
I heard it.
I seen this sitting here, and it really speaks to talking about this. So it was a good thing it was sitting here. It is not our intention to change the way you think, but to encourage you to critically think for yourself.
And with that being said, number one thing about this channel is that this is a safe space. This is a space where we can talk about topics and you are safe to voice your opinion. And if you are attacking in the comments, then you probably will be blocked, or it's a safe space and we vow to keep it that way.
Right, and you can always change a channel. YouTube's got tons of channels out there for you to watch. So getting into it, I'll give you a little backstory. I come up from a Christian background. I mean, if it wasn't beatings before church to get us in the van to cry all the way into church and stuff, that's how it went down for us. But I did pay attention to a lot of the teachings. I went to Bible studies. I really didn't see the point, but now I do. At a certain point on your path, as you pass through so many different things, you have this knowledge that's acquired that comes in handy someday. Like, I never knew my university degree was going to ever come in handy, to the point where I had to fill out Brooke's paperwork for her green card in Canada, and we got it done in record time. It was unbelievable. So, thanks for the $60,000 spent, even just for that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm worth that much, baby.
Oh, I guess so. You're priceless.
You got your college degree just for me?
Yeah, university. So anyways, coming up in Christianity, I kind of swayed to Bible prophecy. I was young, man, 14, 16. I had the opportunity I'm a master networker, and I networked with a television show, This Week in Bible Prophecy, and I got to meet all kinds of heads of what would be called conspiracy theorists, but, they had messages within the title of that really come to light now. One of those was David Icke. I had dinner with him, and I can't speak to the man. I can't speak to those that I was with, but the knowledge that I gained at that time really showed up. Now, fast forward to, things getting really weird. Like everyone I talked to way after the fact, when I went to the United States a couple of years ago, 9/11, no question. Okay, people didn't buy it. And I talked to a lot of people, and I was just like, 9/11, yes or no, inside job. Everyone I talked to, yes, inside job. And I might get emotional here because it's really like it weighs down the things that you see in the 3D happening that are so evil and so corrupt. But I know we win this battle. We win this war. The war is already won. Okay? And all we have to do is stand in love and light and love on each other So, boom, there's the first that shall not be named. And there are so many things that shall not be named. Or you are in fear of censorship, you are in fear of not being able to speak your truths, not being able to speak absolute truths, being attacked, and
bullied.
Oh my God. I mean, we're in a state now that in 2018, I was in a very similar state, in an unhealthy job position that was wearing away at my mental state of being. And I ended up having two major breakdowns because of it. And it was because of bullying. Okay? And the state of the world right now, governments are bullying. And it's not right. And it's wearing away at not only our friendships, our relationships within our families, our immediate families, your in-laws, your outlaws. It is tearing your freedoms. It is tearing away at the moral fabric of society.
Freedom to speech, freedom of travel, freedom of property.
Mm-hmm. This space here is to let go of those things, especially for me. If you look back, you can find these things. You can Google them. You should be able to find these things. But 2008, the global market crash, that was a significant change in everything. It shook the world. Everything really has to do with economics and society. It's the way we exchange things within a community. And we were moving towards globalization, but now, since 2008, it's been shaken up so much that all economic systems of the past have failed. And capitalism is not sheltered from failure. And it has been eroding to the point where we have these collapses that are predetermined how they're going to go down in order to save the system, as we're trying to move into a new system of economics.
However, I think from what I understand, and Danny is more of the expert in this. I'm more so just holding space today, but from my understanding, the people that are in charge, that are supposed to protect us, they don't really want to see that system failed. As he just mentioned, it has been failed. It's been done.
It is done.
It has already not succeeded. It has caused injustice. But are they admitting that? Are they willing to take responsibility of that? Or do they do their best to quiet that and distract you with other things that are going on, so that the focus isn't on the fact that that is a failure? Mm-hmm. Because in one way or another, it gives them the power or the wealth that they desire, rather than providing a service to their people.
So rewind to pretty much where we lost control is back in the day. I'm not sure the year. I'm not an economic scientist. I did go to school for community economic and social development. I did 5 years of my life committed to being programmed into being able to help communities and stuff like that. Kind of move into the next era of economics, because a global economy cannot sustain itself. It's just, we're so dependent on things like oil and for everything that and I don't want to go crazy deep into this. I'll list in the description different movies you can watch, different documentaries that I found really helpful, that really helped me up my grades in my economics class as well. The point that we lost pretty much our rights in the beginning was when we gave rights to corporate citizens. And out of that being written into the constitutional amendments on both sides of the border around the globe, when we gave the same rights to a corporate citizen, a corporation, that allowed them more strength to do things, to advocate for things, within the political sphere. I don't like talking politics because politics, to me, and I don't even like to say this, but it really was a ruse to have the feeling of democracy, like we have some sort of control over this. And throughout time, okay, all economic systems have failed, all empires have failed, from the Roman to the Mayan to you name it. All these things have failed. And really, even communism's failed. Why? It's due to top heaviness, to absolute control over resources and land and stuff like this. Moving into capitalism, what we have is our voice as citizens of nations, right? We have a democratic choice. We have the ability to speak for ourselves, the ability to travel within a free country, the ability are all being attacked right now. Under the said guise of it's for our protection. 9/11, it's for our protection that we enact homeland security shit. You know what I mean? So now it's under the guise of health and well-being. And we are so comfortable within our lives that we're not really paying attention to what's happening out there.
Or we think we're so small that we can't do anything about it.
Amen. See, that's why I kept you here, babe. She's great at adding different things to this pretty deep and not so fun conversation.
Well, thank you. So I want to ask, you were talking about like corporate citizens, they speak for the people?
No, corporate citizens are corporations. Corporations before the amendment didn't have the same powers as individuals. So they went to the Constitution and they said, look, we develop corporations and we need to be able to have a voice just as a citizen, because we are a group of individuals, a group of citizens that have come together to help the common good, to supply these goods to our communities and stuff. So we have it's a more of a grouped opinion or a grouped idea that we come together on and for the betterment of humanity.
And are you saying that now that structure that was put in place, for the people and their common good, they use that as like a power tactic? Is that what you're saying?
Well, money talks.
Right. So I guess the question is, are these people really working on behalf of their people, or are they working on behalf of putting money in their pocket?
The corporate structure is set up so that people of common interest buy into the corporation. They buy shares. The more shares you have, the more voice at the table. There's like cooperatives where it doesn't matter how many shares you have, you still have a voice at the table, which is more round table-ish. But corporations, the more money invested, the more voice you have, right? So this leads into only the rich really have a say in what happens and what takes place. Government. What they need is statistics. They base everything off of statistics, numbers. What is the general population think of this? How many people got into an accident because of that? How many people, and all the numbers really is what the government plays off of to see what the people need. Corporations, when they gained citizenship, they gained a voice. They had the ability to talk into the political ear. With that, those that hold the money hold the power to change things. And when money enters into politics, things get crazy. Now, there are the 1%, the global elite, that are pretty much the puppet masters of everything. Okay? If you don't believe it, it's all out there. And they operate in plain view now. They don't hide behind closed doors. The economic summit, last year or this year, they were really adamant in standing out and saying this is the new form of economy that's rolling out. And a lot of it really dealt with taking back property from people. Like you don't own your house now. You can give it to us. You don't own it. You don't own the property. You don't own the building. You can stay in it. And because you gave your rights for property, you don't have to worry about income anymore. We'll supply you basic income. That was something that was in the works for, I'd say, 30 years. They've done studies on it. They've given communities basic income and stuff. But I'm not getting into all of that. What's really at play now is that these elite, okay, are looking for absolute power and control. I mean, I get some money and I want to buy a boat. And I feel better that I can buy a boat. I make more money, I get a bigger boat. I get more money, I buy a mansion and a boat on a lake. I get more money, and I try and make our family's needs met to an extent. Now, when you are super rich, you have trillions of dollars in your bank account. It's boring. It gets real boring. There is no reason to buy another boat. I mean, you got the biggest boat. You got ships, you got planes. You're fucking flying to the outer space because you ain't got nothing better to do. You know what I mean? And even those ones that just went to space aren't the global elites. So power becomes what's sought after. I have control of this. And ego is all driven in this. And really, what we're doing right now as star seeds is we're downplaying the ego, becoming conscious of our actions, and staying within neutrality and in a loving space and loving on each other and voicing that love outward. So the fight is on both sides. I need my hands in the straight. There's the fight, the elite and global control, and then there's the star seeds, the light workers, the people that are bringing love back to this earth. Unconditional
Oneness,
love,
equality,
oneness, unity. Our inner being, our inner sanctum is what's being attacked right now by those elites in the 3D. They are coming across through our health. Our highest wealth is our health. Grandma used to always tell me, well, at least you have your health, you know? Because if we're not healthy in the United States, if you're not healthy, it costs money. You know what I mean? Even in Canada, where a lot of that's taken care of, if you don't have your health, you don't have your state of mind, your state of being, you can't just be. You're always under this sickness, these things that just your mobility, your ability to live in life, right?
survival mode.
Survival, right? So when they came at us with this health risk, and I mean, we could do a 10-part miniseries on the health risk at play right now. 2020 hit, and CV across the board was this big threat. And, you know, I never really bought into it at that time. I was like, well, you know, there was SARS, there was H1N1, there was all these other ones, and you know, living way in the bush, I didn't really, I mean, like, you want me to what? Really? Like, I have a system that God gave me to fight these things. And if I don't end up successful, and my body doesn't end up successful at those things, you know, I don't fear death. Because if you fear death, then you don't really choose to live. You know what I mean?
And that's not to invalidate anyone's experiences, right?
Oh, no.
He's speaking personally for himself,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel like is something really important to point out, right? Because there are other people that have gotten sick and they've had a completely different experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and every one of them is valid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even in my family, sickness, your family,
Mm-hmm.
they've had sickness as well. And I mean, the last instance in my family, they came close, but they got through it, and now they're even more better off than they were before
And
because their body built that within them to fight.
so I think what's important to point out about what Danny just said too is the fact that he held on to his free will. He held on to his right to make choices for himself. You saw people that were for, you know what, you saw people that were against it, you saw people that were afraid, you saw people like Danny that felt comfortable, that felt safe. And what's important to point out is that all of those are right for the individual.
Mm-hmm.
What Spirit gave me when all of this started was, whichever way you look, there are ups and there are downs. Whichever way you research, there are truths and there are bullshit. So, what does that leave the individual with? Sovereign choice. The position and the opportunity to do the research and to make a choice for yourself for what is best for you, not only by what you find through your research, by what you feel and led to do through Spirit, right? Which is going to differ from everyone. For some people, it was appropriate for you to seek medical attention. For some of you, it was appropriate to do what Danny did and say, no, I don't want that. I am good. I feel secure in my decision. And what that does for the individual, for the soul's growth, is it upgrades and elevates the level of sovereignty from which you function from in this 3D reality. So that means what? That you really get a hand, a voice, the energy to be able to create your reality as you see fit. Because when you make a decision in life, and maybe you're not completely sure if it was the right decision, but you make the decision and then you stand by it with integrity, that gives you an upgraded capacity to create your reality as you see fit. Why? Because you can make a choice, stand in that choice without fear. And that is such a big deal. And for those of you that have found this video, you know how important it is to be able to navigate this world in the absence of fear, with faith, with trust in the universe, trust in that you may not always have all the answers, but you honor the process, you honor the unfolding, right? That is the journey.
Now, I'm not saying CV isn't what it is. I absolutely see the effects within our families, even that it is something. So let me make that clear. Now, whether it is what they say it is, or whether it was in a laboratory or whatever, right? I'm not too concerned about that.
And does knowing that truth change really anything?
Really?
That's what's important. It's where you put your focus, where you draw your energy. Is digging into that really going to change your state of being in this moment?
For real.
Is it going to validate something for you? Do you really need to know, right? Or is it just a distraction and leading you away from what is important in this moment?
And that is one of the tactics of the elite, is distraction. Big time. Now, I haven't watched the news in a long time. I'd say maybe 2 decades. I gave up on that. Even in university, they urged us to watch the news because they were going to be talking about that in classes and stuff. And I limited my, I gained an understanding of what's being said on the television, but then I'd also do my own research and kind of have, not arguments, but that's what they're called in Parliament even. My questions of, really, is this really happening, or is it this? Is this, and I allowed my sovereignty, my own self, to come to a conclusion that really resonated within me. That's all that's being asked of you. Okay?
What a beautiful point to make. The right to question.
Right.
The safety to question. Do you feel safe to ask questions? Do you feel safe to speak your truth? And if not, why?
Doctors don't feel safe in speaking their truths. Nurses don't feel safe. Policemen don't feel safe. Lawyers, the people that are standing up for our rights,
Poor lawyers.
don't feel safe because of something that's conditioned within us since birth. We have our primary institution being our families, our mom and dad, and then we have our secondary institutions being our friends, school. They all keep us in line, right? Primary institution, go to bed at this time. You do this, you're going to get spanked. Nowadays, maybe not. But secondary institutions, well, it's not right to chew gum in class. You can't do this to your friends or else there's going to be repercussions. We police ourselves, and we've been educated in those institutions to police ourselves.
And what the best way to get people to police each other? Arguments, separation, sides, false or truth.
Division. And there's been such a division created nowadays that we have this fear of speaking our truth now because it's just going to unleash this backlash of negativity on you. Or like if you say anything on Facebook, God forbid, if it's not censored, I mean, your loved ones, your friends, your so-called friends, your followers, they're all going to correct you and put you in line back to the narrative that is consistent with what they want us to believe.
Or what they believe.
But really focusing on that social conditioning and being everyone's police to the point where we don't even question our own minds now. We are our own police to ourselves. It's, I mean, since my great-great-great-great-grandfather, and even before then, we've been conditioned over time through wars, through, communism is bad, hate the commies, oh, you're a commie, you're pointing people out as commies, you know what I mean? They're being brought to camps and segregated and pushed away. Well, welcome to the new situation within our economic system now, which is in such disarray. Pretty much these are turbulent times. And when you can't voice your opinion, when you can't stand up for your rights, when you can't go and protest these things, when that is being, you cannot speak against the narrative. That is a problem.
And I want to get you guys to just draw back all the narratives that he's talking about and look at the principle of what he's talking about. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what the narrative is, but there were rights that our ancestors fought for, died for, literally. And I don't think that's something that we should forget or allow someone else to take away from us, They went through so much to put these rights in order for our well-being, for our freedom, and regardless of the narrative, regardless of the right or wrong, the principle is, if you can't feel safe to live within those rights that you've been given, that is a problem. Not that the narrative's a problem, not that the agenda is the problem, it's the principle, right?
When my family members died to fight for this country's, our rights, to uphold those rights, to help other countries do those things. And I'm not big on war. When there was blood shed for us, for our future, for our children.
And that's just a fact.
That's something that should mean something to everyone.
It should be honored. That's it.
Absolutely.
It don't have to mean a fucking thing to you. But it can be honored. It can be respected. Right?
And really what is being asked of us is to stand up for those rights.
So how do you do that?
Staying neutral, and this is the empire of neutrality, staying within unconditional love, staying within the love for each other, regardless of what the other may say or believe, because this is a soul that's in front of you. I have my best friend, my best, hopefully my best man. Hopefully, this division doesn't cut our ties because he's a beautiful individual and I love him so much. Um, he got the V, one of them, and he's probably going to get the other one. And there started to become this divide on his Facebook and stuff of really like, why don't you care for other people? Why, like, and through memes and stuff. I don't really truly believe that he is fully in this position. But when I started seeing, the narrative being supported towards, doing these things, we challenge each other. Me and my best friend, me and my best man, we challenge each other to look at different things. And sometimes it gets heated, but I still love him and he still loves me. I pray. It comes to the point where, look, there is a line that is drawn. Okay? This is not about us becoming divided, because when we are divided, we have no power against what is taking place. We need to come together. We need to come together in unity, especially when now, through all that has happened, like cogs in a wheel, now it's our rights that are on the table and that are being taken away from us.
Right, and if something that a part of your narrative is, why aren't you getting this? Do you not care about other people? I just want to flip that to the other side for a second and say, well, what about my freedoms? I can't go in a restaurant now because I don't have that and because you said it's appropriate. I can't go visit my family. I can't live my life. What about me? Right? So even if you can't figure out in that moment how each side, to how to support each side, all you have to do is set the intention, right? You don't have to figure it all out in the moment. But if that is something that is a narrative for you, I just encourage you to look at the other side. Not as they're against you, but as they're a human being just like you. And they probably feel the exact same way that you do, right? So just hearing each other out can make such a difference. That's something that you can do.
Me and my best man, we went on a trip, and there was, when we got to our destination, there was protest happening, and it was just people coming together, listening to speakers on a lawn downtown. And I was like, well, look at those people. How beautiful is it that we still have this right, regardless of whether I like what they're saying or not, to have that voice, to be able to speak what their minds, and not sway necessarily, but put it out there. Put that information out there for people that are maybe questioning all of this, or that have been under the narrative but are just waking up now because well, yeah, okay, masks, oh, I can just put on a mask, whatever. Yeah, okay, well, I'll get a jab, whatever. But now, wait, segregation? Now, if you don't, where is the ability to, freely come to those decisions instead of being coerced? Coercion is not freedom. That's being bullied. If you don't get this, you can't do this anymore. You're not free to do those things anymore. That's bullying. That would not stand in a workplace environment, but now it does.
However, here's the thing. They, are making these rules, these regulations, right? But if you were to take that to court, it wouldn't fly. Why? Because it's not within the rights that have been given to us as humans. So on this 3D level, you might not see that. But another thing that you can do Some of you will be put in situations to have conversations, and you will be the voice of neutrality, the voice and the presence of oneness, where you can have two completely different sides, but you can show how to have that conversation neutrally. You can provide the communication skills to the other person. Even if they get triggered or they start to attack, you can kind of neutralize that and then speak from a place of oneness, speak from a place of neutrality, and be that example. That's some of y'all's jobs: light workers, twin flames, star seeds. Others of you, you will be put in a situation where at work your rights or your freedoms will be jeopardized, and you can have the option or the opportunity to take them to court to fight it, right? And that will be your job. Some of you, your job is to lead these protests. Some of you, your job is to create a YouTube video, right? All the jobs are different. And I've even seen the division within light workers. Well, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you doing this? Da 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 da. It doesn't matter. We all have different journeys that we need to respect and honor. We are all being asked to do different things. Some of us may need to fight. Some of us may need to surrender. Some of us may need to talk. Some of us may need to go to court. That is at the individual soul's discernment, right?
Yeah, I've seen this morning I woke up to a video of this woman speaking at a PTA meeting or something, and they were talking to this. She was talking to the school board, and she was saying, "Are you receiving money to implement these things?" And there was no word said. And she showed documents of, yeah, you're getting $5 million to implement these things. And then speaking to my children, they don't even have to wear their masks around their face. They can wear them on the chin as instructed by you guys. What is the purpose of this? If you follow the money, you'll see this isn't right. There are things within these narratives that are not right. They're not common sense, which is, really not common anymore. I understand this. And it's just because we've fallen comfortably numb. And then until they come to you and tell you to do these things or pass your point, your sovereignty, and your sovereignty is in question and on the line, then you're like, oh, well, now they're coming for me. And now what do I do? People are going through it. I mean, I don't want to bring Germany into this back in the day, but there was segregation of a community that didn't end up well. And we've learned throughout history that segregation is not right. Black and white, straight and gay, you name it. When you take people's rights away, and these are sovereign human souls. When the rights are being taken away, that should be a red flag in your mind.
Regardless of what side you are on.
Regardless of what situation this is. That's heavy.
We have seen this so many times. It's just like, as a soul that has been here and like done this, and it's just like, oh my God, when are we ever going to get it? Like, racism. Gay people. I mean, vaccines. Like, it's always fucking something, it seems like. Something that is brought up that you're a piece of shit if you do this, you don't know how to do research, what's wrong with you, we're getting attacked, we're getting bullied, and it's just like, when is enough a fucking enough? Like, when are we gonna get it? You know what I mean? And that is, I feel like, the whole reason of this conversation that we're having today. It may be about a jab or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It may be about that right now. But look back. How many times have we been in this situation? How many times do we have to fight this fight? How many times do we let people that we love be served injustice and we sit comfortably on the sidelines? You'll know what you're meant to do when it comes to all of this. And all that, I ask and Spirit asks you to do is to just follow that with integrity, not only for yourself, but for everyone else. Because the integrity that you show right now sets the stage for your kids, sets the stage in honor for your ancestors, right? And it's up to us as people to come together to bridge these gaps. For you twin flames that have found this video, you want to know the purpose of the twin flame template, the purpose of the twin flame journey, to build those bridges back to unity, back to oneness, the union of the masculine and the feminine, the union of the spirit and the man, the union between any division between humans, regardless of the little topic that seems like such a big deal. Religion, race, if you're gay, vaccines. How many times do we have to do this, people? Right? Like,
And we've been fighting for our freedoms from the dawn of time, through all empires, through all come revolutions, and through all revolutions we gain a little bit more. And yet those that come to agreements also have an agenda, and they erode those things that we fought for, and then we fight again, and we regain and a little bit more. And I mean, this is human nature. This has been a fight since the beginning. Freedoms have always been a fight. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, it doesn't matter your ethnicity, it doesn't matter the sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you vape and you like strawberry. It's always been a fight.
I know, I'm tired of fighting.
God. And we are tired of fighting.
I'm not going to fight. I am a peaceful warrior.
Love, man.
That's it. That's all I got. And if you haven't picked up that's our message, that's our message.
That's it. Love on each other, no matter what sides. If you're red or blue, left or right. I mean, we all have a valid point. And we all either, well, I don't know about that, but at least because of their sacrifice of like, well, I don't know about those actions. Maybe I don't really feel that we have that choice. The duality of this world guides us to neutrality.
Oh, we have to stand up for choice, you guys. Light workers. The whole point is sovereignty, baby. Sovereignty. So when you look at this narrative, when you look at what's going on right now, are you standing up for other people's sovereignty? For your own sovereignty? That's it. That is what's important. Not whether you're against it or for it, but is that person that's against my beliefs, is their sovereignty being attacked? Oh, even if we're not on the same side, man, is there sovereignty on an energetic level, on a soul level? Is there sovereignty being attacked? Is this person, are they suffering from injustice? Is this equal? Is this equality? Is this unity? That is the things that are important, not what's on the surface. And we know that. We just need reminders sometimes. Plus, not a lot of people. How many people had this conversation with you? Let's be honest.
I mean,
how many people do you go to and talk about these things? How many people, when you talk about what's going on in the world, do these things come up? Do we talk about the soul? Do we talk about the unity of our consciousness? But we're still learning. And, I would like to invite you guys that when you meet someone that doesn't really have those values instilled within them, that hasn't been taught these things, that maybe doesn't have that strong connection with spirit and the unity of who we are, be gentle. Don't attack back,
No.
Be that example of love.
Those souls that don't get the vax, those souls that have got the vax, they're at a place on their path that, they made a choice. And whether it was informed enough or not, whether they were on that part of their journey where they could really see what was taking place or not, they are still our brothers and sisters. They are still souls, and they've come here as well to show us the contrasts in this world, in this life, And they also, for their sacrifices, give us the ability to hold our sovereignty and to make our own choices. Every life holds a value to it. Even that person that murdered somebody has a value to this life, has something to show us, and whether or not they've been convicted, I mean, they still hold value within this whole mess that's called life. And whether we do not understand the narratives of their actions, those narratives are divine, and those divine things that occur may disrupt certain individual lives and souls, but those disruptions are needed in order for growth, in order to attain more knowledge and wisdom, in order for their spirituality to move forward. And when we become comfortable, there was a Omen something. It was a show on Amazon. I mean, it was a pretty wild show, man. But it really spoke to how there is no right and wrong. It spoke to duality, and it was this angel and this demon that started off in the Garden of Eden, and they gave choice to Adam and Eve, and she went down, and all these things, and throughout the course of time, they came to the end of time, and they were like, yeah, so this plan is in place to end it all, and we really enjoyed each other's company. This devil and this angel, really became friends in the end, because they saw that each of them had a purpose. When this angel couldn't really get this soul to see, he'd go to this devil and he'd say, well, I need you to kind of shake him up a bit because he ain't listening to me. So the devil would shake him up a bit, shake his life up a bit, take things away abruptly, and really, set him in his place. If I didn't lose my job, if I didn't lose my sanity, if I didn't lose my ex-girlfriend, if I didn't lose my best friend of 20 years, if I didn't lose all these things, I wouldn't have awakened in all these aspects of my life, and I wouldn't be who I am today. So just like those two, the two polar opposites that became best friends in the end, they were pitted against each other in the beginning, but in the end they were like, hell no, we don't want this to end. This is fucking beautiful. Why would we want it to end? And they joined forces to keep things the way they were, to keep people progressing, to keep opening people up to these new ideas. That was a beautiful message from a shit TV show. For real. And it speaks to this day. We watched V for Vendetta last night. Oh my God. I mean, just the truths that come through in what's happening now out of a movie that they made in 2005 is just like, whoa. Showing signs of this is happening now. That's happening now. These things, I mean, it's a little unnerving when you're actually looking at a movie and saying, shit, dude, wow, what are we doing? What is happening? And then being like that angel and demon and coming together, regardless of what side you're on. We're in this show together, man. And we have the control to stand up and say, no, my rights are being violated. If you want to fire me because I didn't get this thing, so be it. Enjoy running a pulp mill by yourself.
What goes around comes around. We are all one. What you do unto others, you do unto yourself. So if you stand by, or if you're a part of watching someone else's sovereignty be victimized, what do you think that's going to turn into? How do you think that's going to come back around? And it might not be you right now, but in a year, in 2 years, it might be.
Yeah, when are they coming for you? Nurses on the front lines from the beginning.
Right.
And we had a shortage of nurses. Now, if they don't get this thing, you don't have a job.
The heroes. They were the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And now look what's happening to
Now
them.
they're the villains.
Now they're being fired.
Wow. Does that make sense? That was one of the
and
things.
Replaced with military.
Right. That really, and I was like, well, if all the nurses stood up that didn't want to do it and just quit, well, where would society be? Now we're going into a fourth whatever, and we don't have any nurses, and there's still yet to this story, and it's unraveling, and it's not going to be good unless we, go sit at our parliament building peacefully and say no. No, my ancestors
Unconditionally,
bled.
fuck you.
My ancestors bled on a field fighting for this right. And I stand behind them. And they stand behind me. And we're going to stand here until you get it through your head that you cannot do this. This shit will not stand. It ain't going to happen in my lifetime.
And you don't have to get angry about it.
No.
You don't have to get all bent out of shape. You don't have to rage and fuss and cuss and fight. It's just like,
You don't even have to throw a brick.
this shit ain't happening. That's it. It's not gonna fly.
I'm not taking part in this.
With a smile on your face. Do you know who you're fucking with? You're fucking with spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna happen.
This story's been written. In the end, we win.
Love wins.
Love wins. So, with that being said, I hope we inspired you to, really think and really start to pay attention to things. I know in 2015, I watched Barack Obama talking about the in the future, we're going to come up against these viruses and stuff. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? What are you talking about? 5 years later, boom.
So that if and when a new strain of flu, like the Spanish flu, crops up 5 years from now or a decade from now, we've made the investment.
Okay. Is that a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. I'm pretty sure you don't either. No. And you continually to look back to those things in your life where you were like, what?
Right? That's why I think it's beautiful to hear you share, because I'm so young, and you've seen things happen. You've been alive long enough to witness the patterns, to witness history kind of repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for sharing with everyone today. And I don't know how much of help I was, but
Well, you were a great help.
I trust you completely.
You balance this out, and like even with Brooke, I don't want to sway her to my side. I want her to stand in her sovereignty and make her own choices as well. And we've been up against these things even within our relationship. And you're like, why don't you tell me these things and stuff? And I'm like, baby, I'm giving you your power. I'm allowing you to make these decisions to see what things are right and wrong in your eyes.
Right. He'll know something for like 6 months, and then like 6 months later, I'm like telling him, he's like, yeah, no. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well,
Why didn't you tell me?
It's not my place, right? And it gave her more power, more sovereignty over her own soul and her own actions and her interactions, even with me. And that's a beautiful fucking thing.
Yes, to empower each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that being said, twin flame
goodbye.
Twin flame goodbyes. They just take, oh my God, forever. We love you guys. If you want to like this video or dislike this video, that is your option. That is still available on YouTube. Maybe not in the coming months, but whatever. Please, put a comment down. Stay as neutral as you can. Where if there's any fights or anything that goes down there, this is not Facebook and it will not be tolerated. We want you guys to come out with love and appreciation for each person's individual sovereignty and their views and stuff. So definitely like the video or dislike. Subscribe if you haven't. We don't usually talk about these things. We talk about some love and how to stay in love and how to guide you towards life in neutrality, which is a hell of a lot easier than where I come from, Where I come from, it was a mess. And if I would have known about neutrality, I wouldn't have had those breakdowns. But those breakdowns were a blessing because they led me to neutrality. You see?
Amen.
All my accidents that took place led me to the being here in this moment, having my twin flame beside me.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Swag.
There was some terrible things that happened in my life, but they all led to now. And we love you guys so much. And until we see you again.
Love you guys.